Is Wolverine, Adamantium Rage, the 16-bit era's adamantium-tipped secret weapon? Or is it the video game equivalent of slicing open a can of Spam with Logan's claws only to find somebody already ate the good bits? Rhetorical question. Obviously, I finished the can anyway. The 1994 Super NES cart lands somewhere between cult curio and full-on fever dream. Part respectable platformer, part license-driven oddity that forces you to race against a homicidal porcelain doll while counting invisible corpses. Underrated? Overrated? It's less a number line and more a Mobius strip of, well, actually. Boot it up, and the first thing you meet is LCD's grinning portrait promising to explode if you dally. That's when you know you're not in Kansas Madripoor, or even a sensible tie-in anymore. Classic or disposable? Sharpen those claws. We're about to autopsy a cartridge that refuses to stay dead. Historical context. By late 1994, the Super NES was in its gray temples but still bench-pressing phase. Nintendo had just dropped Donkey Kong Country's pre-rendered swagger, while Super Metroid and Final Fantasy VI were busy redefining epic. Into that prestige lineup hopped LJN, the rainbow logo kids whispered about like it was the Candyman of licensed publishing, with a solo Wolverine project by London's Bit Studios. The cartridge shipped in North America in November 1994, followed a month later by PAL territories, and finally hit Japanese shelves as Wolverine on 27th of January 1995. Marvel licenses were everywhere. Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage had turned red cartridges into Hot Topic decor. Capcom's X-Men, Mutant Apocalypse was about to make Cyclops' Optic Blast respectable, and the arcade scene was wiring up CPS dashboards for X-Men, Children of the Atom. At home, Sega Genesis owners received a separate Adamantium Rage, coded by teeny weeny games, effectively an alternate universe where Sabretooth crashes the party and stage layouts shuffle like a deck of Hellfire Club invitations. But we're talking SNES, which meant Mode 7 swoops, 4-button ergonomics, and the assumption that a player's thumb could survive a 12-hour rental weekend. Me, I was 15, loitering in a New England arcade that smelled of pizza grease and ozone from the Mortal Kombat 2 monitor. Every Friday I'd treat the local video store's SNES wall like a rogue's gallery. I'd already clocked Mega Man X and needed something edgier than Goman, yet less homework than Illusion of Gaia. There it was, Logan on the box, claws out, ESRB rating kids to adults, the oxymoron of the decade. I slammed $4 on the counter and spent the weekend learning two immutable truths. 1. Bits Studios could animate a surprisingly beefy Berserker barrage, and 2. LJN's designers had the same fondness for fair play that Sabretooth has for Kitten Rescue. Good times. Mechanics. Strip away the Marvel paint and Adamantium Rage is a 7-stage side-scroller built around 3 central gimmicks. 1. Hidden kill quota gates. Every area tracks an invisible tally of enemies. Slay enough ninjas, robot cannons, or subterranean skull monsters, and the exit opens with a cheery 0 in your HUD. Fail to clear the quota fast enough, and 2. LCD's murderous countdown. The cherubic android LCD functions as a literal ticking time bomb. At first the timer is hidden. Once she's close, her icon pops onto the screen, eyes glowing like a Furby possessed. When she arrives, Logan dies instantly. No hit animation, just kaboom. The mechanic is equal parts tension device and panic attack, ratcheting up whenever you wonder whether to hunt that final hand ninja or grab a health pickup. 3. Regenerating health stand still. Light a mythical stogie. Nintendo politely swaps it for a mouth breath, and Wolverine's HP creeps back. It's the SNES's prototype for modern automatic healing, slow enough to discourage cowardice, fast enough to bail you out after eating lumbering boss fists. Control-wise, Bits assigns a whole button to Logan's backhand, still more tasteful than Shaq Fu's Baba Slap. You can punch, kick, claw swipe, ceiling cling, dig through bone floors, and launch a berserker lunge mapped to the R button, a horizontal cannonball so dramatic it deserves its own announcer. Think Mega Man X's dash, married to Strider here use cartwheel slash, but angrier and with more Canadian guilt. Levels zigzag from the Weapon X lab, guard droids, collapsing gantries to bamboo spiked Japan, neon lit Tokyo rooftops, a nightmare cyber hallucination, the Baroque Hellfire Club mansion, and finally skeletal catacombs strewn with brood husks. Each zone keeps the absurd kill timer thread intact, each ups the ante on platforming cruelty, acid drips, razor fans, bottomless pits. boss roster, a veritable Claremont B-side playlist, Tri-Fusion, 3 tag team monstrosities, Marble, Shard, Shiken, who swap in and out like a wrestling stable on Red Bull. Lady Deathstrike takes exactly 1 HP per claw swipe, turning the fight into mutant microsurgery. Bloodscream, a leaping vampire bulk that homes in faster than a Smash Bros. Ganondorf short hop. Crystal Dragon, damageable only via the ruby on its throat. Missing you might as well be polishing gemstones. Cyber, invincible until you knock him into toxic vats, after which he morphs into spiked wrecking balls, anvils, and whatever else lurks in a Looney Tunes prop closet. Black Queen, Celine. Actually invulnerable. Her own spell effects drain her life bar on a hidden timer while you dodge flaming chaise lounges. Fugue, a shape-shifting trickster rematched twice for extra spite. Great Beast, final hurdle, summons skeletal lightning and speaks prose like a Shakespeare understudy. All of them, and the lesser mid-bosses, like Shiva's giant cannon, are documented in the game's files and walkthroughs. Each encounter demands a different slice of Logan's moveset. Wall clings for Crystal Dragon, super jumps for Black Queen's Fire Shower, ceiling digs to cheese Cyber's AI when you need a breather. The design lurches between inspired, multi-phase enemy routines and unhinged, untelegraphed insta-death traps. But it's never dull. Speaking of cheese, the regenerative health turns the ceiling cling into a mid-fight hot tub. Need a breather after Bloodscream's cheap bite. Latch onto a convenient girder. Answer nature's call, come back refreshed. Of course, LCD punishes you if you overstay the spa session. Game balance by way of stick and carrot-shaped dynamite. Modern metaphor check. The boss invincibility windows have more iframes than a D&D 3.5e monk wearing bracers of blinking. And yes, you can dig through certain skull tile floors, because Wolverine is apparently part terrier. Stage continuity is saved via 4-icon passwords. Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Xavier et al. A system elegantly free of alphanumeric soup. Once you obtain, say, Psylocke, Cyclops, Storm, Iceman, you're back in business. A subtle nod to trading card culture and a godsend to weekend renters. Legacy and influence commercially, the game faded behind bigger 94 headlines. Donkey Kong Country hype eclipsed everything not rendered in silicon gloss. And LJN's Rainbow was more caution tape than stamp of quality. Reviews hovered in the mid-60s, praising atmosphere while dunking on difficulty spikes. Yet Adamantium Rage left claw marks in unexpected places. Health Regen prototype, long before Halo's Shields or Call of Duty's Strawberry Jam screen, Logan was knitting wounds in real time. Designers cite the feature in GDC talks as an early mainstream example of renewable HP in an action platformer. Pursuer Timer DNA, LCD's Creeping Doom predates Resident Evil's Nemesis by half a decade. Hide-and-seek tension became horror standard kit. Deep-cut villains. While arcade fighters embraced marquee names, Bit Studios went all in on Claremont weirdos. Crystal Dragon and Fugue have only a handful of comic issues each, but their sprites introduced them to a generation of fans who later gasped, "Wait, that guy was real?" when Marvel Mobile resurrected them. Design lesson in soft locks. The hidden kill quota radicalized level gating. Subsequent indies, see The Messenger's green coins, borrow the idea, encourage engagement without literal doors. Bit Studios recycled tech for 1995's True Lies SNES port, where Logan's wall climb became Schwarzenegger's spy shimmy. LJN folded into Acclaim, who themselves imploded by 2004, but many of the Adamantium Rage devs resurfaced at probe outfits shaping early PS2 shooters. Industry careers heal faster than Adamantium lacerations, apparently. Closing paragraph plus score. So, bub, should you dust off the cartridge? Absolutely, though maybe keep the R button's plastic fresh, because you'll mash it like a fighting game newbie. Wolverine, Adamantium Rage is the gaming analog of Logan himself. Rough edges, regenerative charm, and just enough unhinged energy to survive being thrown off a cliff. You'll curse invisible quotas, cheer sprite art lifted straight from a Jim Lee splash page, and laugh nervously when LCD's cherub face eclipses half the HUD. I still hear that tick, tick at 3 a.m. In the annals of 16-bit Marvel, it isn't the best there is at what it does, but what it does is uniquely, stubbornly memorable. Final score, 6.5 out of 10. Not platinum clawed perfection, yet worth every retro weekend, provided your healing factor covers minor thumb blisters.